कर्णस्वर्णविलोलकुण्डलधरा मापीनवक्षोरुहां मुक्ताहारविभूषणां परिलसद्धम्मिल्लसम्मल्लिकां लीलालोलितलोचनां शशिमुखीम् आबद्धकाञ्चीसृजम् दीव्यन्तीं भुवनेश्वरीम् अनुदिनं वन्दामहे मातरम्। आनन्दाश्रमशिष्याग्र्यं स्वानन्दाम्बुधिमज्जितम् आनन्दाश्रमिणं वन्दे परिज्ञानाश्रमं गुरुम्। महादेव शम्भो। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। दक्षिणामूर्ति स्तोत्रम। दक्षिणाशेमुषी प्रोक्ता सा यस्याभीक्षणे मुखम दक्षिणाभिमुखः प्रोक्तः शिवोऽसौ ब्रह्मवादिभिः। The Brahmavadis, the Brahmajnanis, when they refer to Dakshinamurti, they address Dakshinamurti, they are very clear. It is Sakshat Shiva himself whom they are propitiating. Dakshina Shemushi Dakshina Prokta. One word for another. Shemushi Dakshina. Shemushi is called Dakshina. The meaning of Dakshina is Shemushi. So what is Shemushi? Samadhi. Shemushi Samadhi. Shemushi Dakshina Prokta. Dakshina. There's a certain dakshata that is involved in this, a certain skill. So probably that is also the reason how the mental fluctuations are completely controlled in samadhi. Shemushi Dakshina Prokta. The meaning of the word Dakshina in Dakshinamurti. Shemushi Dakshina. Shemushi means samadhi. Dakshina Prokta. Sa yasya bhikshane mukham. Dakshina. That Shemushi, that Dakshina, Abhimukham, that is the Mukha, that is the Dwara to perceive whom, that is Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti is who or what is perceived through Samadhi. Sa yasya abhikshane mukham. Sa Dakshina yasya, जिसका अभीक्षणे मुखम, to the perception of which Shemushi is the Dwara, that is Dakshinamurti. And he is Shiva himself. So he who is perceived, this is a very loose term that I use, perceived in Samadhi, is Dakshinamurti. There is no other way of perceiving Shiva. All our sense of perception, when we talk about perception, etc., is plagued with triputi. I am the knower, I know something, and there's a process of knowing. So I am, this is, and I know it, I see it, I perceive it. So the seer, the seen, and the process of seeing, these three comprise of the Triputi. How does one see one's self? There is Triputi Vilaya. That seeing, that understanding, that knowing is something definitely different. There cannot be Triputi. I don't get to see myself through a process of seeing. So Triputi Vilaya is there. That is why of all the Vidyas, of all the Jnanas, Brahma Jnana is something radically different. So even as we use our intellect, we do the Shravana, Bhakti Purvak, we do the Manana, finally it is just the Neti that is going on. Anything that is sensed, anything that is perceived, it is a projection, it is asat in itself. So then what remains, bas, avasishtam bhaven muni, that is your Atma Swarupa. That is how the sadhaka is led or guided in Vedanta. Yesterday I was just saying, the adhikari for Vedanta is a kritopasti. There has to be sufficient vairagya, but without upasana, without the bala of generated during upasana, just taking to Vedanta Shastra will not fulfill its purpose. We'll get saddled with a lot of information, a sense of, oh, I know a lot. But then that is endless. It can just go on. And for the sincere sadhaka, then it doesn't appeal. So we are led through it, to it through upasana. Upasana, we have stages, always. So there is pragati that can be understood, palpably felt in upasana. Oh, I'm improving, I can sit for more time, my resilience has increased. And in Vyavahara also, I am seeing the difference that has been happening in me. And Upasaka is permitted all that. In Jnana, there is no taratamya. 50% Brahma Jnana or 75% or 99.99% Brahma Jnana or anything like that. It is a clear cut-off from the Ajnana. The identification, I am a jiva, is gone forever. Pas Shivoham. But the power that is generated in Upasana keeps the sadhaka going. It won't be for, I want this, but that sheer pain of this, the bondage that is felt, I don't want this, propels him. And there the Shruti only says, not this. As he ascends, still not this, not this. Na iti. Neti, neti, nechi, he is actually guided. And when he comes to himself, so to say, he realizes, yes, then there is nothing left. So that being the case, we are being taken through it, to it in a very nice manner, and that too, the Sarvatma Bhava. At no stage are you so ignorant that you don't know yourself. You are aware of yourself. That is the first. We start Vedantantu, Aham, that principle. Then the other things, all the other pramanas have only a limited value. Shastra pramana. So, shall we start the fourth? Nana chidra ghatodara sthita mahadeepa prabha bhaswaram jnanam yasyatu chakshuradikaranaad dvara bahihi spandate janami iti tameva bhantam anubhati etat samastan jagat tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namah Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Nana Chidra Ghata Udara Sthita Mahadeepa Prabha Bhaswaram. Mahadeepa. There's a very powerful lamp. Where is it placed? Ghatodara Sthita Mahadeepa. in the belly of the pot, the deepa has been placed. And the pot is Nana Chidra. There are many holes in that pot. And in that pot, empty pot, is placed a deepa. Deepa Prabha Bhaswaram. And it is very radiant. So, in the dark, the light is emitted from all those holes. From the source, that is the lamp within the ghata, which has got these holes. Jnanam yasya tu chakshuradi karana dvara bahi spandate. Similarly, in the sharirastha jiva, because now it is the aham, but the ahankarana has happened, there is a chidabhas, and there is a sort of localized aham, not the shivoham. So that aham communicates, understand the idam through the senses. So that aham then, because of that consciousness, that chaitanya radiates through the senses and perceives this world. Jnanam yasyatu chakshuradi karana dvara bahi spandate. That chaitanya, its jnana is now vyavaharik jnana. Spandate, bahi spandate, chakshuradi karana dvara. Through the senses, the aham starts inquiring and starts appreciating through shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, and of course then the mind, logic, understanding. Janami iti tameva bhantam anubhati etat samastan jagat. Now this janami, aham janami, this seal, yes, I know, janami, aham janami iti tam eva anubhanti bhantam anubhati etat samastan jagat. I know this, I know, and then the world is perceived. There is something which says, yes, I know this, I know this. It may be various things, it may be through sparsha, it may be through shabda, but then finally consolidated in I know. Aham janami iti tameva bhantam anubhati. Then subsequently the specific jnanas consolidated by aham janami. Aham ghatan janami, aham shabdam shrunomi janami, ityadikam aham janami. That is how, this is the laukika anubhava. That is why there is a sarvatma bhava. That which says aham, aham, the recipient of all knowledge, tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye nama idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. What was the first shloka? Vishvam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyan nijantaragatam. It's in the Atman alone. Just as in the two-dimensional plate, so to say, a darpana, an entire city with all its dimensions, depth. Oh, this is very close by. Oh, that is very far. Where is that far and near in that two-dimensional plane? But still, for appearances, all that space, etc., is perceived in that mirror, so also it is perceived in the Atman. But the Anubhava is Bahihi Iva. I am seeing and I see it outside. There again the second Drishtanta is used, Yatha Nidraya. You perceive it, you conceive it and you perceive it. Drishti, Srishti, Srishti, Drishti. And you see it as apart from yourself, as outside yourself. And finally it is you alone who are, who was and who will be. In the Swapnavastha, you alone were there, you perceived it, you got up and you said, wow, I saw all that. Where is that? No other existent other than myself. No upadana karana other than me. No nimitta karana other than me. I saw it. So also Ishvara with his magnificence can conjure this. Does Srishti Sthiti Laya in himself, not dependent on prarabdha, unlike the jiva. So that was the karana. And yaha sakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanam eva advayam. And in having got up, the person says, oh, it was me alone. It was not some other entity who experienced that. Even if I may have had some other shape altogether, a totally different personality altogether, it was me alone who saw that. So also the realized soul says, oh, Shivoham, I always was. I was never this, I was never this. But that is the complete annihilation of ajnana. So that Prabodha Samaya is Shivoham, who experiences that Guru Murti, that Dakshinamurti, I revere. That was the first. Then the example was given, Bijasyankara, Bijasyantarevankaro Jagadam Prang Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitrya Chitri Kritam. Everything is contained. There is nothing other than the Atman. So the projection is by the Atman, Brahman. In Brahman, there is no other nimitta or upadana karana required. This is repeatedly brought to the Shishya's mind. This samskara is made dridha repeatedly. Asakrata upadeshatvacha, because it is defying all normal sense perception of the ajnani. That is why the Shastra has to be brought in. What can be proved by senses, there the Shastra doesn't interfere. Just as I see this with my eyes. In this perception, it is my chakshusha pratyaksha. The pramana, pramakaranam, the means of knowledge is the chakshurindriya. I hear through my ears. So it is the shrotra indriya which brings me sense perception. The eye is not going to register sound and the ear is not going to register sight, rupa. Shabdasparsha rupa ityadi, they have their own respective indriyas. They are giving their knowledge, consolidated by aham janami. Again, the fourth shloka. And for me, I need to know myself. I cannot be objectified. I can't objectify myself. I can't be known through senses and logic also. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Mind, etc. are later manifestations. They can't reveal their source, which is much subtler than them. So in that case, Shruti becomes the pramana. Shruti alone, Veda pramanam, asmakam krite. So here the Upanishad pramana alone stands, and that is gently introduced, or rather the Shishya is introduced to Vedanta by the Guru, depending on his paripaka. And then this becomes very, very clear. So that once it is registered through Shravana, the Nididhya, Manana happens, Samshaya is removed, doubts at every stage, and then we have the Nididhyasana to consolidate that. So the Brahmakara vritti is generated, at least in Vedanta we have that, to differentiate from all the other vrittis, all the other thoughts, etc., where we understand things. So this Brahmakara vritti is again what we achieve through upasana. We have our Ishtadevata, we do our japa, etc., and slowly as the demands of the samsara are kept at bay, kept under control, what happens? You release from there, become tanmaya, sharavat tanmayo bhavet, become one with that. The aikya that is brought out for the upasaka is through upasana, sharavat tanmayo bhavet, brahmata lakshamuchyate, apramattena vedhavyam sharavat tanmayo bhavet. So this is the approach through upasana. Having said that, it is the Adikarana, it is that which sustains also and in which everything goes down. Laya does the Nigraha, but now is intent on doing the Anugraha. Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmaka Asatkalparthakam Bhasate. There is no satta in itself to the objects that are perceived. Sakshat tattvamati asiti vedavajasa yopa bodhayati ashritan. The source of all existence, so to say, that Satchidananda Swarupa, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That is the Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman. Janmadhyasya yataha, that which is the source of everything, that which is a creator of everything, is the Tatastha Lakshana. I see this, what is the creator of this? Oh, that is Brahman. Okay, I am not interested in this. So what is the Lakshana of Brahman? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Understood as Sat, Chit, Ananda. That is Dakshinamurti whom I revere. And it is his Satta, his Purata. It is in himself, his effulgence, which brings forth this creation. He sustains it and he dissolves it in himself. So the objects that are perceived by me now are not permanent, are not Shashvata, and they have no independent existence from the Satta of Brahman. This is to be understood. Immediately resort to your manana, chintana goes on as in sleep, as in swapna. The objects have no independent existence, independent of me. I see them, as long as I see them, I entertain them, they are there. Once I withdraw, they don't have any existence at all. There was nothing other than me. But that me, jiva, is all contaminated, so your prarabdha also plays. So it is the uncontrolled swapna of the jiva. Whereas in the case of Ishvara, it is his svecha. So there is joy, there is abandon in that creation. His satta, asti, spurana, bhati. It is seen, aham janami, at the level of Ishvara, etc. come from Ishvara. We talk about Brahman, we talk about Ishvara. Brahman goes into the Shuddha Brahman, that is a Nirupadhika Brahmana. Ishvara with his Shakti, Brahman with Shakti, Shabala Brahma is Ishvara. So the Lakshya, when you say Tattvamasi, Tattva is because with Upadhi it is Ishvara. Because I am there, Aham Alpagnya, Sarvagnya. Aikya is there, but it is Brahman. Neither my Alpagnyata has any value, nor the Sarvagnyatva of Ishwar has any value, because there is Aikya in Chaitanya. The apparent demarcations or whatever, Upadhis, I have discarded. So that, yes, Puranam, not only that, not only he who creates and perceives, Sakshat Tattvamasiti Veda Vachasa Yo Bodhayati Ashritan. Sakshat, he himself. It is not a person who gives the Mahavakya Upadesha. It is a Sankalpa of Ishvara through the Guru, who gives the Bodhayati. He gives the Bodha, Bodhayati Ashritan, those who have surrendered to him, his Shishya. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam. Yat Sakshat Karanad Bhavet Na Punaravritti Bhavam Bhonidhau. And having understood this, whatever bodha was being given, having clearly understood, oh, this I am, Shivoham, not this person, not this jiva. After post that bodha, yat sakshat karanad bhaved na punaravritti bhavam bhonidhau na bhavet tasmai. Having realized whom, there is no return to this samsara sagara, to that Dakshinamurti, my namaskar. Wow, that's good. He who creates, he who sustains, he who dissolves, he who gives bodha, that is Dakshinamurti. And where am I left in all this? Nana chidra ghatodara sthita mahadeepa prabha bhaswaram. Yes. In the jiva also, in this context also, Jnanam yasyatu chakshuradi karana dvara bahi spandati janami iti taveva bhantam anubhati etat samastan jagat. That consciousness which is not exactly in me, which I am, which recognizes all this, that in its fullness is Dakshinamurti alone. So the Jiva Bhava is also understood in this manner now. The Dakshinamurti is everywhere, Sarvatma Bhava. Even the Jiva is part of that. That is why it is not restricted to either Ishvara or Guru alone. Even the so-called Ajnani Jiva, there is an element in me which accepts, which recognizes Aham Janami, Vishayan Janami Syat. Kintena. It is not Brahman I am seeing, it is Vishaya. But then that which says Janami, Aham Janami, that Tattva is Dakshinamurti. And Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Makes sense? So quickly we are being brought to this conclusion that Aham, that Atman, we are partially aware of it. Like yesterday, Abala Gopa Vidita. It is known. But unfortunately, it is known in a very different manner because there is avidya. So I am somebody who sees this. That identification with somebody, I am this or whatever, is the defiling element where we don't understand our own Swarupa. But that element which says, I know, that is Dakshinamurti. Isolating that, initially purifying that is our upasana. Now the various levels, the reasons are also brought out. Why this confusion? Ishvara creates, it's his maya, and the jiva is grasta, is tormented, or what? Avidya grasta. Because of avidya, Shiva is aware of himself as a jiva. Constantly reiterate that I am Shiva, maybe Baddha, but basic, my inherent nature is Shivoham. Deham pranam api indriyani api. Deham pranam api indriyani api chalam buddhincha shunyam viduhu. Stri bala andha jada upama tu aham iti bhranta bhrisham vadinah. Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Mahavyamoha Samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Deham Pranam Api Indriyani Chalam Buddhim Shunyam Viduhu Stri Bala Andha Jada Upamaha Tu Ahamiti Bhranta Bhrisham Vadinaha. Now in the case of an Ajnani, Deham, I am the Shariri, and that is all that I need to know. How best I can take care of this body because I am an embodied soul. How best I can make myself happy because I am an embodied soul. Deham, Aham is strictly restricted to the Deha. Deham. Then the Prana, a little subtlety. There is something more than the body. Because I have seen people, they have lost a limb or two, but still their identity remains. I am is there. That is not I am 50% or something like that. I am. Deham pranam. So there is something else, a little subtlety, maybe Shastra Chintana, maybe some experience. There is prana shakti. Or simple, there is a deha there, but it is a shava, it is dead. So there is some shakti which invigorates, which enlivens the body. So I am more than the body. What am I? I am pranam, the prana shakti which activates the body. A little subtlety, so to say. I am that. So that person will do upasana of that prana shakti. I am the prana shakti which activates the body. I am not the panchabhutatmaka body. Deham. These are the convictions of people. Those are being brought out. Api indriyani. Indriyani. Oh, the five senses which bring, and the buddhi which puts everything together. the five senses, that I am, a conglomerate or whatever of the senses, that I am. Because without the senses, bereft of the senses, I won't even be able to be aware of my body. It is the senses which are closest to whatever, consciousness. So I am the Indriyani. A little more subtlety, but still even the Indriyas can be guided through the buddhi. I can decide, I can become aware of that sound, I can become aware of this sound, I can just be aware of what I am reading. So it is the buddhi that decides which indriya to send out, work, apply itself, etc., etc., to pay attention to. So I am subtler than that. Subtler, more powerful, in charge, so to say. Buddhi. There are those who say, yes, I am the buddhi. Aham, the desire to identify, to know yourself is so strong. So at some stage, a sadhaka gets stuck. That is being brought out. If not that, there is a time when there is absolute peace. So if through some sort of a samadhi, I can just annihilate all sense perception, all vicharas, and then periodically I come out of it and I say, I experienced tremendous peace. And what was it? It was shunya. Shunyam. That is the swarupa. That is all that is. Now this is being brought out. We are not going into the details, but there are entire siddhantas behind each and every of this, whatever has been mentioned. Ultimate is the Bauddha Siddhanta, Sarvam Shunyam. And what do we say? Who's there to say Sarvam Shunyam? There is a Sakshi to that also. So Sarvam Shunyam. So whatever. Now Viduhu. It is known. Deham in eva Atma. Pranani eva Atma. Buddhireva Atma. Shunyam. There are people who speak like this. Who are they? Stri, Bala, Andha, Jada, Upama. Okay, careful now. Stri, Bala, Jada, Andha. Progressive. Okay. You have to, I don't know, you'll have to do a lot of. Stri is generally the. Because of so many responsibilities, I'm not going to do this, etc. Stri. Bala is because of the aviveka, immaturity, the buddhi, the state of the buddhi. Stri, Bala, Andha, Jada. Andha, an incapacity to see. Whatever, prarabdvasha. If prarabdha is very bad, there is no occasion. No satsang, no shastra. Jada. Having listened also an incapacity, made some attempts, I can't do this. Still repeated attempts, but actually no effort is being put in. That is the jada. So many levels. Why we stall ourselves, why we don't aspire for this, when we know very clear that aham in me, the purest of pure of aham, me, what I understand myself is already there. I cannot be denied that. Why don't I understand it in my fullness? For so many various reasons, they don't entertain the Vedantic Chintana, Upasana, Shunyata is there. But Bhrantaha, Bhrisham Vadinaha. They are Bhranta, no doubt about it, misguided, but Bhrisham Vadi also. They'll justify what they perceive or their lack of perception, whichever way. So you have a lot of philosophies coming out which are not based on Shastra, which are based on their personal opinion, maybe some sort of an experience, but no Guru or Shastra is there to guide. So Bharanta, Bhrisham Vadinaha. For various reasons, they are stuck at some level. Since there is no correction, there is no guidance, they remain stuck, but they feel they have attained the highest. In this Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Maha Vyamoha Samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Maha Maya Shakti Kalpita Vilasa Kalpita Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Maha Vyamoha. And what is this? What is the reason behind this? This is nothing but that Ishvara Shakti, which wants nanatva, ekoham bahusyam. Through his Maya Shakti Vilasa, it is totally unrestricted Maya Shakti. It is not baddha. Like I said, the jiva experiences based on his samskaras, based on his fears, based on his prarabdha. Prarabdha bhoga is not just in Jagrata Avastha, it can be there in Swapna Avastha also. So whatever is experienced, the Sukha Dukkha in Swapna Avastha, that is also because of prarabdha. And what is conjured there is because of the samskaras. So it is still monitored by the prarabdha. Whereas in the case of Ishvara, his vilasa, Maya Shakti, vilasa matra, swatantra is there and he conjures this entire universe. Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. There are no limitations to it, there are no rules, regulations. But because of that Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Mahavyamoha, he has put himself in Mahavyamoha. Moha, just attachment. Vyamoha is moha, and then the subsequent total confusion, wrong identification. I am this, should I be doing this or should I have done that, etc. It's all the confusion. Mahavyamoha has been created for the jiva. Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Mahavyamoha. Not only he creates Samharine, he can do the Samhara of that also. Samharine Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurti. So we are appealing repeatedly to the cause so that the effect is nullified. It is not something that has been perpetrated on me, so now I appeal to the Guru and I will try to do whatever is best possible. No. That element is very much within me. That Chaitanya, in its fullness it creates, in its fullness it sustains everything. That is my Swarupa. And once that begins to make itself felt through your Upasana, through your Upasakti, the Mahavyamoha will start, Shamana will naturally start. There is one purpose to life also. You are guided. Makes sense? And that has to be defined, redefined at every stage. And finally, who removes the complete wrong identification, releases us unto our own self, the Shiva Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa. To that Guru, that Dakshinamurti, Nama Idam, my namaskaras. Anything unclear in this? I have taken 2 stanzas already. Having taken just the body, the example of the body, the wrong identification that happens with the sthula sharira, with the indriyas, with the prana, with the buddhi, or finally disgusted shunyam. Yes, there is nothing, so nothing needs to be done. Sarvam shunyam. The 6th stanza takes the avasthatraya. So the 5th stanza is like Panchakosha Vilakshana, the Panchakosha of the Jiva, the Chidabhas, the reflected Aham. Now in this shloka it is the Avasthatraya that is brought out. Rahu Grasta Divakarendra Sadrusho Maya Samachhadanat Sanmatra Karanopasamharanato Yo Bhut Sushuptah Puman Pragaswapsam iti Prabodha Samaye Yah Pratyabhijñāyate Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Rahu Grasta Divakara Indu Sadrishaha. Divakara Sun, Indu Moon. Rahu Grasta, eclipsed. just as the blazing sun is eclipsed by Rahu, it loses its shine, its luster, its power. So also the moon, lunar eclipse. Maya samachhadanat sanmatraha karana upasamharanatah yo abhut sushuptah puman. So also Maya samachhadanat, because of the achhadana, the covering, the eclipsing of its nija swarupa of Chaitanya, sanmatraha karana upasamharanatah, withdrawing all his senses, taking it within, yah abhut sushuptah puman. That puman who went to sleep was in sushupti, wherein all the senses were withdrawn. The buddhi wasn't functioning, there was nothing being conjured also, so there was only avidya. Again, remember, two elements which are brought out because of avidya: avarana and vikshepa. Avarana is a covering where you don't understand yourself, and vikshepa is you understand yourself differently. You are not aware of your Shiva Swarupa is bad enough, but you are aware of yourself as the jiva embodied, subject to sukha dukkha, prarabdha vasha. That is worse. That is the vikshepa. This vikshepa is there in both the avasthas, Jagrat and Swapnavastha. And here it is the Sushupti Avastha, whereas the complete Upasamharana. Upasamharana is the withdrawal of all senses. So where nothing is perceived, Sushupta Puman, and then Prag Swapsamiti. Prag Aswapsamiti. Prabodha Samaye Yah Pratyabhignayate. Prag Aham Aswapsam. Earlier I was sleeping. Prabodha Samaye, having got up, a sadhaka, a jiva says that Aswapsam iti Yah Pratyabhignayate. Pratyabhignayate. Idanta tatta avagahi jnana. Idanta tatta avagahi jnana. You're sitting here, huge fellow comes up. Namaskar, Swamiji. Okay, where are you from? You don't remember me, Swamiji? I am sure I remember you, but can you just tell me who you are? I had met you 20 years ago. You had given me Kit Kat. Oh, there's nothing similar in that toddler who came and this huge fellow who has come. But Pratyabhignya happens. Oh, that boy. Tatta idanta avagahi jnana. So this Pratyabhignya that happens even in Laukika Vyavahara. Oh, it was I that slept. It is I that I am awake. It is me. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurti. That means through Jagrat, through Sushupti, through Swapna, that which continues. Otherwise they are totally discrete. Because in Sushupti you are not aware of yourself. Having got up, you say it was I who was sleeping. The Swapna also, it was I who saw that. I was subject to the Swapna and I am. Through all these avasthas, Sutratman, that which runs through, that is the Dakshinamurti, that is the Guru. And it is not limited by this, is another thing altogether. That is the Turiyam. And to understand that, it's not a different state, but it is to make it very clear that manifest Ekaunshena. Hey Arjun, all this manifestation that I do is a partially of my abilities that are being used to create this and hold this Ananta Koti Brahmanda, that I am not exhausted in that. Do you understand this? So the Turiyam is not to be quantified, but it is for you to understand that you are not limited to these avasthas. Either I have to be in Jagrat, or I have to be in Swapna, or I have to be in Sushupti, or some state of coma. This is all Sharira based, and you are definitely not limited by this. So the element of Turiya is brought out to make it abundantly clear. You are not to be defined by your avasthas. Avasthatraya Sakshi. That Sakshi which is there even in Sushupti, but not registering, the Jiva doesn't register. I am sleeping is not an anubhava that the jiva undergoes. There is just the sakshi there. But the identification it was I who slept, having got up. Then the buddhi starts, the indriyas also start pitching up in and say, oh, I am very relaxed right now, so it was definitely I who slept and now I am very happy. Avasthatraya Sakshi Zaunashil Tattva, that is my Atman, that is Dakshinamurti, that is the Guru. May I be liberated. Balyadishu api jagridadishu tatha sarvasu avasthasu api vyavrittasu anuvartamanam aham iti antasphurantam sada swatmanam prakatikaroti bhajatam yo mudraya bhadraya tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye nama idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Balyadishu api balyadi avastha. Here the avastha is not the Jagrat Swapna Sushupti avastha, but Balya avastha, Yuva avastha, Praudha avastha, Vruddha avastha ityadi. The avasthas, the stages in life. So in an individual also, all the stages in life that a person experiences, there is one principle. The aham doesn't change. It is possible to forget, but it doesn't mean I was not, isn't it? I was that child, I was that young yuva, and now the avasthas, consequent avasthas. So that aham running through is constant even in these avasthas, stages, age-wise, transformation of the body, mind, etc. is happening, but I remain the same. Through all that, jagridadishu tatha, and the avasthas like Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, running through all that also, that one tattva, one principle, tatha sarvasu avasthasu api, and whatever other conceivable avasthas, through all that, in all those, vyavrittasu, those which come repeatedly, one after the other, sequentially, anuvartamanam aham iti antasphurantam sada. Aham rupena antah sphurantam sada Dakshinamurti rupam aham bhaje. Making sense? So, we are touched by that element of Dakshinamurti at every stage through the aham. That is what has to be understood. Dwell on this. The moment we get out, yes, there is Ishvara, but how do I am not in touch with Ishvara, how do I get to understand God, etc.? No, Dakshinamurti is there, you are part of it. However you understand, as your understanding matures, through your upasana, through anusmarana, that element in me, aham, that is Dakshinamurti. Only thing, I have defined that aham by my avasthas. I am young, I am old. Now that aham is there, but it has been thoroughly contaminated by the avastha of the body. I am tired, indriya, prana, these determine, because I give adjectives to it. Upadhi manatati. Shuddha aham, the buddhi doesn't settle on. It is perceiving it. It is through the aham, through the sakshi, that everything is being perceived. At the same time, the perception is being thoroughly contaminated by the avasthas. So the avasthas are upadhis, and the identification with them brings about tremendous contamination. So through all that, sifting through that, see that spark, that line, that is the gold running through, is being brought out to our understanding. Even in Sushupti, that Shuddha Aham is there. The mind may not be working to register, but the Aham is there. That is why on getting up, it was I who slept. It registers. that which is through and throughout all the avasthas, all possible avasthas, Swatmanam prakati karoti. And then Swatmanam, Atmanam eva prakati karoti, reveals himself. Bhajatam, for the sake of those who are doing his bhajan, for those who are appealing to him. Bhajatam, yaha, he who reveals himself, his own Atman, to those who have propitiated him, mudraya bhadraya, through the bhadra mudra, that is the chin mudra. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. That Guru Tattva is running through and through me. It is always with me. It is me in all my avasthas. But because of the avasthas, my immediate second identification, almost immediate identification, is with object, something that can be objectified, and I forget my own Swarupa. But it is there throughout. And he who reveals this, the Sarvatman in me, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. In the earlier shloka, Ashritan Bodhayati. Sakshat Tattvam, in the third shloka it was Sakshat Tattvamasiti Veda Vachasa Yo Bodhayati Ashritan. Those who have taken refuge in him, he instructs them, guides them through the Mahavakya. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, that you are. The Adhikari Shishya is guided through the Mahavakyas. And here it is Mudraya Bhadraya, the Bhadra Mudra. So there is instruction being given, clarifications being given, doubts being dispelled. And for the Adhikari Shishya, the Chin Mudra alone is enough. That intuitive knowledge just blazes forth. He who guides and he finally illuminates also, that Tattva I revere as Guru, as Dakshinamurti. That is always with me. I am in that. And if I am to know myself without identification, affiliation to any of the Panchamahabhutas or the Avasthas, etc., I am liberated. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Because people do a lot of meditation, etc. People don't like to do japa. Japa, and especially with achaman and all, is... But then some research will happen and finally the West will tell us it's very powerful, achaman and prokshan. So we'll start using it. Till then you better go by what has come down, paramparagat. So anyway, meditation. So they're quite... It invariably happens when sadhakas meet. I meditate, Swamiji. I sit for a long time. Sometimes I see this light, I see that. What is it? Are you happy with it? Then God bless you. What do I have to do about it? What do I do next? I don't know. I'm not your guru. I've not taken your responsibility. What happens? What can you say? Laukika vyavahara, we want to achieve something. I'm good. So in the spiritual also we go about like that. Oh, I have achieved. Have you got? You have not got? I have got. I feel happy with it. What are we pandering to? So that is why Vasana, Kshaya, Tattva Chintan and Manonash. These are the three things that are expected of a sadhaka. Very nicely put. Vasana, Kshaya. You purify your vasanas, become Shiva Kama. Manonash. Deal with the mind. Annihilate it. Remember, when you are doing japa, there should be a time when you are absolutely poised. And Tattva Chintana. If Tattva Chintana is not happening, then it's very easy to get stuck in all these things. Either there may be something good or it may be hallucination. Most of the time it is just hallucination. It may be one incident, but you go on reliving it and think you have attained to something. Kya kare? There's no Tattva Chintana. Even this hymn, if this is understood, you will be guided, you will be prompted. No, I have not achieved, I need to go on. Without Tattva Chintana, simply listening to a lot of things and then coming to some conclusion and feeling you have ascended and reached a particular stage, there is no correction. The Jiva Bhava is very dridha. It is still there. So Tattva Chintana is of paramount importance. So that guidance comes, the sadhaka is propelled, move ahead. And then when he is self-propelled is his parabhakti, his vairagya and his mumuksha. I need to be liberated. I don't want to get stuck at any stage. Is there. He won't settle for anything less. Oh, I have got some experience or something like that. It just goes on and on. And the culmination, as in the Guru Bhajana Stotra, Majjanma Janma Saphalyam Aho Jatam Ayatnatah Yadangri Renu Samsparshat Tamanandam Gurum Bhaje. Majjanma Janma Saphalyam. One Janma was very good, a lot of punya. Another Janma was not so good. This Janma I don't want to talk about. But Janma Janma Saphalyam Aho Jatam Ayatnatah. Whatever is the safalata of one Janma, I don't know. But safalata of repeated Janma is only one. Getting out of this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. That is the safalata. Jatam. That has happened. Ayatnatah. I know myself as Shiva. I was never bound. I am not bound. I shall never be bound. I was untouched by that. Maya. So, Janma Janma Saphalyam Aho Ashcharya Jatam has happened. Ayatnata, not with my efforts. It is not the individual who has attained to something. Yadangri Renu Samsparshat Tamanandam Gurum Bhaje. Yadangri Renu Samsparshat. A touch of a dust, a particle of dust of the Guru Charana accepted, dispelled this ignorance once for all. There was no progressive stages in this. It was a complete annihilation, avasadhana of the ajnana. And that was pure grace. A lot of effort has been put in. We are aware of that. The sadhaka did so much tapas, etc., etc. But final illumination, when he is asked, the Brahmajnani will say, it was not because I did something and I attained. Whatever happened, it was pure grace. That is the only way it can be expressed, because you are listening to a person, an embodied, so to say, a sharira speaking. So there, if it is localized, again you will get into trouble. It is not a person who is speaking. So, Janma Janma Saphalyam, this Janma, Punarapi Jananam, etc., it has been eradicated through sheer grace. So that grace I invoke through Dakshinamurti, who through the Chinmudra dispels this once for all. He prepares me through the Mahavakya, through the Bodha. I do the Manana, the Nididhyasana, and there's a stage, there's an illumination that happens which is not the product of any vichara, constant vichara. Especially in Brahmakara Vritti, there is no vichara that is going on. I am Brahman, there is no even chant like Shivoham, Shivoham, etc. There is tremendous intensity. I am that I am, nothing else. Vishvam pashyati karya karanataya swaswami sambandhatah shishya acharyataya tatha eva pitruputradi atmana bhedatah swapne jagriti va yah esha purushah maya paribhramitah Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Vishvam Pashyati Karya Karanataya. Remember, through the Mahamoha, Mahamaya, Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitra Chitri Grutam was brought out. Very important words. Basic understanding. Desha Kala Kalana. Desha, the space and a sense of space that is being generated. The simplest example to intellectually understand is the Desha that was conjured in a dream. The Kala, oh, I lived for 40 years there. Where is it? I slept, according to this, just for half an hour probably, my swapna. But there, whatever I could perceive 40 years, Desha was also different. So this Ishvara uses his Maya to create Desha, Kala and Kalana, a sequence, cause, effect. That sense of, okay, just go on. Desha, Kala, Kalana. So here, Vishwam Pashyati Karya Karanataya. There is a Karya, there has to be a Karana. And that Karana becomes Karya for another preceding Karya, a Karana. It just goes on, go back, go back, go back. Our logic, our rational Vyavaharic life demands that we do the Karya Karana. If we have some problem, we have to go into the Karana and then only we will be able to eliminate that. Very simple. But that is Vyavaharik Satyata. So a jiva is baddha by that, is limited by that, is bound by that, is restricted, is charmed by that, going into the Karya Karana effect, etc. So, the Vishwam Pashyati, he who sees this Vishwa in the Karya Karana, causality it was called. Swaswami Sambandhataha, Swaswami Sambandhata, I am the Swami, he is my Dasa, or he is my Swami, I am the Dasa, this sort of a Sambandha. Shishya Acharya, I am the Shishya, he is my Acharya. Tatha eva Pitraputra Adi Atmana Bhedataha. Pita Putra, relationships. So Vishwa is perceived by the Jiva in so many ways. Karya Karanataya. This I am enduring because of what he did or what I did. Now what do I do next? This is what keeps us going, isn't it? What do I do next? If I do this, I'll get that. If I can get that person to do this, maybe I won't get that, but I'll get this. Karya Karan is going. This is the Vishwam Pashyati, Karya Karanataya. Relentlessly it goes on. Remember this when I bring it up. How to meditate, how not to, when we discuss that. Karya Karanataya. Swaswami Sambandhataha. Swaswami Sambandhataha, that is even Acharya and Shishya or Pita Putra, that is the invoked Parampara. You connect yourself to a Guru. And Pita Putra, the Naisargika Sambandha of relatives, etc. He who identifies himself through this, he who is enmeshed in this, Bhedataha, Bheda. Nanatva is being perceived. There is no Bhed in the Advaya Atma. Bhed implies there is more than one, Nanatva. Swapne Jagrati Va Ya Esha Purushaha Maya Paribhramitaha. In Swapna or in Jagrata, this Purusha, Maya Paribhramitaha. Why? Because he is Paribhramita, totally confused. He is not just blinded. When you play blind man's buff, you tie that and then you spin that fellow around, na? And then leave him lying. Then he doesn't know which is north, south, all coordinates gone. Very, very cautious. So Maya Paribhramitaha Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurti. This Purusha who is going through all these experiences, completely bewildered, that to him Dakshinamurtaye Nama Idam Shri Guru Murtaye Dakshinamurti. What a fantastic way of drilling in that your Shuddha Aham, what you say, me, that is Dakshinamurti. You are not untouched by Dakshinamurti, you are part of it. At least start from there. Where else do you want to start from? Don't start from assumptions. I am so good, I am not so good, etc. Start from where you are. You are. That is enough. And this is Maya Paribhramana. May this be removed so I am aware of myself as Shiva. That is why it is a Sarvatma Bhav. I want to see God in everybody. My God. And then so much anger. I was not permitted to serve. Somebody else served. Two Mahatmas have come. I was not allowed to serve. And then what do I want to see God in everybody. There is so much foolishness, pettiness. You discover that God in yourself, that element in yourself, which will immediately let you get above this Matsarya, etc. That is enough. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Bhuram Bhansya Anala Anila Ambara Mahanath Aharnath Himanshu Puman Bhuhu Prithvi Ambha Ambhansi Jala Anala Agni Anila Vayu Ambar Akash Aharnath Surya Himanshu Chandra and Puman. What is this? Ashtamurti, isn't it? Prithvi, Jala, Teja, Vayu, Akasha, and then Surya, Chandra, and Aham, the Purusha, the Puman, who's the Sakshi, who's the witness to all this, the Chaitanya element. But all these are taken, not composite or plus this or plus this. Whatever is perceived, whatever is felt, whatever is the anubhava of everything, and also he who is doing the anubhava, that which experiences, the experienced, the process of experiencing, and the experienced. That is Shiva. That is the Ashtamurti form of Shiva. So, Puman iti abhati characharatmakamidam yasyaiva murti ashtakam. All this which is perceived, which is understood, and this is all the Ashtamurti. Of whom this is the Ashtamurti manifestation, this entire manifestation, and the perceiver, experiencer of this manifestation, whose it is, that Dakshinamurti, that Guru Murti I bow down to. Na anyat kinchana vidyate vimrushatam yasmat parasmad vibho. Na anyat kinchana vidyate. Instead of isolation, instead of saying not this, not this, not this, Ashtamurti Upasana is a very powerful Shiva Upasana. We have done it. And specifically, we sit at a beautiful place where you are not troubled by there are no demands made on you immediately, attend to this or something like that. So then you can slowly go into Ashtamurti Upasana. You can do it very technically. This Prithvi Tattva in my body, the Prithvi Tattva outside, the Tattva is the same. Jala Tattva also. So what is it that, why should I differentiate this and that? It's the same. Even the cognition, the process of cognition, the emotional whatever feelings etc. I have and I appreciate, that is likened to the moon. And finally, witness in this body and the Sakshi without is Ishvara, Aikya there also. So when this is done intelligently, it brings about tremendous purification. There is no intellectual trying to understand what is happening. You feel it, you sink into that awareness of Ashtamurti, Shivoham, but not with eyes closed. Everything is Shiva Tattva. To reside in that, be in that state, that is the Ashtamurti. Na anyat kinchana vidyate vimrushatam. For those who do this vimarsha, who understand that anything that can be perceived and the perceiver, there are only two elements. Bereft of this, there is nothing else. Nanyat kinchana vidyate vimrushatam yasmat parasmad vibhoho. And this is Shiva. So beyond this, beyond Shiva, there is nothing else. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. To that Lord who manifests as the Ashtamurti, who is appealed to, who is addressed, whose upasana is done by the sadhaka, with the firm conviction that there is nothing beyond him, to that Tattva, to the Guru Tattva, to Dakshinamurti, my namaskaras. Oh, we have completed this. Sarvatmat Tvamiti Sputikritam Idam Yasmad Amushmin Stave Sarvatma Tvam Iti. You are the Sarvatma. Iti Sputikritam. Sputikritam, Spashtikritam. That which has, this bhavana has been implanted in the Shishya, that has been made very, very clear through 9 different shlokas, various approaches. In this shloka, Asmin Stave Tena, that's why, Asya Shravanat, listening to the shloka, the stotra. Here, listening Shravana means what we have been doing. We have been going through the verse, we have been trying to understand the meaning. We are doing the Shravana. And subsequent Manana. Manana also is there. This will continue. Asakrat Upadeshatvat. So this Upadesha has to keep coming periodically. Understand, meditate on this with conviction that this is the truth, irrespective of whatever my mind tells me. So, Shravanat, Tadartha Mananat and Dhyanat. When that conviction becomes very strong, then yes, I am not satisfied with Paroksha Jnana or just intellectual and appreciation. I want to understand this as my own Atma Swarupa. Hence, Nididhyasana is entered into. Sankirtanat. Share this or sing this stotra. Recitation also brings about tremendous purification. Because of that, Sarvatmatvam Mahavibhuti Sahitam Syat Ishwaratvam Swataha Siddhye Tatpunarashtadha Parinatam Chaishwaryam Avyahatam. Oof, superabundance. Because it is Sarvatma Bhava that has been brought out in this, the Jiva Bhava is negated and the sadhaka becomes pratishthit in Ishvara Bhava. And then Ishvara Bhava means all this happens. Aishwarya, Ashtasiddhi, Aishwaryam Avyahatam. There is no restriction to that Aishwarya. At this juncture, if I am aware of myself as a Jiva, is Ishvara aware of his own Aishwarya? He is very much aware. Upadhimiti. Isn't it? So if my Aikya happens with Ishvara, then it ends there. Then what? So this Jiva Bhava, this Jadatva is being dispelled in this stotra, the Sarvatma Bhava. If you want to think, you might as well be aware of yourself as Ishvara. Why limit yourself to Jiva? You are, you cannot deny that. What you are, you decide. You want to go beyond the attributes. So the Aikya has been brought out so mercilessly, even in this. All the Ashtasiddhis, all the Aishwarya, etc. comes to the sadhaka is the Phalashruti. Why? Because that is his Nija Swarupa. One who attains to that is not impressed with that, Aishwarya, etc. But right now it is a beguiling, okay, very impressive goal. Simply the Jiva Bhava is only because of the Upadhis. Let me let go of this insistence so that when the Bhadra Mudra is shown, there is that intuitive flash, some with Jnana, releasing me into my own Brahma Swarupa. And that is mine. In all my avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Mudhavastha or whatever, in all the avastha stages of the body, the chronological stages of the body, etc., of a jiva, I am there, and that is where I can contact Ishvara, I can understand myself in my fullness. There is something, that Atma Tattva, it looks like that or it may feel like that, etc., has to be dispelled. It is very much me in my fullness. That is being repeatedly brought. There is no, okay, after this you have lived by the book, so you will go to eternal heaven or something. Those fancies are discarded at a very preliminary stage for the sadhaka. And when he becomes a shishya, because of the Shuddhikarana that has happened, because of the tuning in with the Guru Shakti, very easily he is released into his own Swarupa. So all these things automatically come to him, whatever. He becomes a nimitta. He is not just a pawn in the play of Ishvara, so to say. He becomes part of it, exalts in it. For him it is very easy to identify himself as a jiva or as Ishvara, because he is pratishthited in his Atma Swarupa, which is beyond all these differences. That is the purport, that is the tatparya of this beautiful stotra. Meditate upon it, because very rarely is this brought out. He who undergoes all this, that is the Dakshinamurti, that is my Guru. Again and again, aham male lyantunchi, the Shiva Tattva asa, that is our point of contact. You don't have to deny yourself and say, I want something new because I'm tired of myself. You're tired of the upadhis, the confusion that has come because of the wrong identification. But you in itself, in yourself, you are the Shiva Swarupa. So constant reiteration is also required. Satsanga is required. Then the manana also happens. The purification happens in vyavahara also. And finally in nididhyasana, yes, the spark can happen. Of course it can happen any time, but our purushartha consists of meditating. Anything else? आत्मखारकल्य में किती घंटे आ रही 10:30 अथाज नंतर कल करतं 97-91 आणि what else? You going now?
No, after.
After this is?
After this, 10:30 is after. Immediately after this is breakfast. 10:30 is pujan by Swamiji. Again in the evening, by 3 or so, everyone will be, the Shibiratis will be going for temple and Ramana Ashram visit. And again in the evening, 7 p.m., Swadhyaya by Swamiji.
I'll have to take up something else. We'll do Guru Paduka Stotram. I think that it will fit in with this after the Ashtamurti. उदयाचलनभकुङ्कुमजलभर भैरवी शाम्भवी श्रीमयि जागो भैरवी शाम्भवी श्रीमयि जागो भैरवी शाम्भवी श्रीमयि जागो 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 भैरवी शाम्भवी श्रीमयि जागो भैरवी शाम्भवी श्रीमयि जागो ब्रह्म महिषी महामाये जागो ब्रह्म महिषी महामाये जागो ब्रह्म महिषी महामाये जागो ब्रह्म महिषी महामाये जागो संविन्मयि शिव जाये जागो संविन्मयि शिव जाये जागो संविन्मयि शिव जाये जागो संविन्मयि शिव जाये जागो गुह्यगोप्ता त्वं गृहाणास्मत्कृतं जपं सिद्धिर्भवतु मे देव त्वत्प्रसादान् महेश्वर भवानी शङ्कर मम शरणं भवानी शङ्कर मम शरणं भवानी शङ्कर मम शरणम् नन्दन्तु साधकाः सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्था शाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव।